Welcome to this episode of I Date Money presents Money Talks with your host, Lisa Drennan. Today we have the beautiful Reena with us. She's dear to my heart. I just absolutely love Reena. She is a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and she has so many gifts and talents and uses them in amazing ways. And she's just really has this really cool gift. But today we're going to be talking to Reena about money, because this is what we talk about on the shows, right? Is money, honey. Our relationship with money matters. It makes us do things that maybe we normally wouldn't do. But when we talk to money, when money can talk back to us and we know where we stand, we get to do things a whole lot differently, and we get to become millionaires, billionaires, or whatever it is you want to be. So welcome, Reena. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing this time and space with me and the audience. Tell me, when you were a little girl, little Reena, what was her first impression when she met money?
Well, Lisa, thanks for having me. When I was little, I think that the money story was interesting. My parents came from Africa with not a lot of money and started a whole new life over here. I think my dad says that he had $600 in his bank account, and to walk a lot of miles in the snow to get to places, and that it definitely was a difficult time. But my parents never let on about it. It showed up in different ways that I think I didn't really recognize until I was older. We had a lot of fun. We still went on vacations and did things, but we always cooked at home and we didn't really eat out. And having one of those TV dinners once a month while my parents went out was like the treat, because my parents bought food, and it was definitely, I can see it now, but it never felt like we didn't have money when I was little.
Yeah, and those little money idioms and stories that we hear about our parents, I had to walk to school uphill both ways carrying a heated potato to keep my hands warm because we didn't have mittens.
Yeah.
It's like that. But coming from that place of watching your parents, they only $600, back then that still wasn't a lot of money, right?
Oh.
And especially with a family, and thinking about your journey and all the things that you've done with money and how it formed, like, what was the most impressionable thing from your childhood that formed your money relationship today?
I think that because there was a little bit of, well, you don't know what you're going to have or run into, so it's important to save your money. It's important to do things that are responsible, I think, and be responsible with your money and learn how to make your money work for you. But I was a fairly rebellious firstborn child, and I did not do those things. Instead, I was like, I'm just going to do it my way. And I see it now again as an adult, going back to that. I think it's a little bit of just realizing that there was a little bit of truth to that, even if I didn't want to listen to it. I had no problem spending money. It's the saving and looking forward to what does the future hold, because you don't know, but are you ready for it? And so my parents were very ready for it. My dad learned how to invest. He made a lot of money in the stock market. He tried to pass it on to us with all kinds of incentives. I'll pay you to do it. And even that wasn't like, oh, I don't want to. I don't know why that was so hard for me. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you see money like as an enemy or somebody that was out to get you?
No, I don't think it was an enemy. It definitely let me do things I wanted to do, but I always felt like I didn't have a problem spending the money. It was a matter of where was that money come from, and money doesn't grow on trees, and who's going to give it to you, and if you can't make it yourself. And so that formed my career. I went to college for chemical engineering because I was really good at math and science, and my dad was like, well, pick the thing. If you don't know what to do, pick the thing that's going to make you the most money. So I did, and it makes you the most money because it's hard. And I finished, but I didn't love it. And so then after a year of working, I was like, well, what do you want to do? And it's either teaching or going back to nursing. So I picked nursing school, and it wasn't for the money, but also I wasn't worried about the money. I don't know if it was avoidance.
Yeah, we avoid so many things, especially when it comes to our finances. And we can't see, a lot of times we don't recognize it immediately within ourselves. It's nice to get that bird's eye view. So, as you know, working with a coach to help you see that bird's eye view is so important. But when I mean, you're a coach yourself, right? And you help people see things that they can't see using really awesome tools. And when you think about it, when you work with your clients, is money a blocker for them the way it is for you?
Well, it's hard to say because I think they just assume that it is a blocker. And I think that comes down to a little bit of, self-worth, and are the things that you have to offer worth it? But they are, because it's the kind of thing that I would pay for. And so it's an interesting dynamic how that plays out for me.
Yeah, because we're really good at spending money, right? And so many people, like that I work with come to me and they're like, they don't know how much money they have coming in. They have no idea what their income is. And if they don't know how much is coming in, how do they know how much is going out? And one of the things we do is create this customized wealth activation roadmap, right? And I'll never ever say, cut your budget. You need to cut back on your expenses because you don't have enough income. You get to choose that, right? But
Right.
why do you think for yourself it's so easy to spend money, but there's that resistance to save it? Why are you afraid to save money?
That's a really good question. I think if I knew the answer, I'd have a lot of saved.
Well, we'll dive deep into that answer. And there's layers to that, because why we do what we do, and you, with your background of math and science and, studying the moon and all that, you really get that subconscious mind and the intricacies, which I admire so much, because I'm like Googling subconscious, going, okay, what's going on here? And I know the layers, and every time I hit a layer, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to go there. It's scary. I get this feeling like in my solar plexus that just tightens up. And sometimes my throat will tighten up as well. And when you think about money and, in your own relationship with it, in your own personal life, and all the things that you were told, money doesn't grow on trees, where's it's coming from, and all of these things that you were told about money, how would you describe that as far as relationshiply? Like, if money was a person, would you be in this intimate conversation or this intimate relationship where you're like solid? Like, there's the scary parts, because every relationship has its ups and downs. You have your fights and stuff. So would you say your relationship is more like in the marriage side, or kind of like just kind of dating, and like maybe you're on the first or second or third date? Where would you, like, if you compare it to a relationship as a dating thing, where are you
Um,
at with the
I
money?
would say that it's a one-sided marriage.
Ooh, we don't like one-sided marriage.
No, it's not super healthy. I think that it was, I would say it's a little bit like I want to control the money, so I just tell the money where to go. But it's not a give and take. So if I save the money, then the money can support me and be there for me. But I'm not willing to have that, so I just control it by spending it. And so I'm not looking at both sides of the give and take in that relationship. It could be healthier.
Yeah. Yes. And we're always working on that, right? Building those healthy relationships, identifying, what do we need to learn? Like, where do we need to grow? And, this is how I am, but I get to choose to do it differently. So every time you're spending that money, and like, am I okay? Is this part of the plan? Is this part of the money management plan? Because the money multiplier system allows you to have 10% fund money, right? And
Yeah.
10% investing, and the 10% for giving, to create that reciprocal energy. And just by implementing the simple steps, it creates that beautiful relationship of, hey, we get to be partners. I get to tell you, money gets to work for me, right? And I get to make these decisions to say, hey, you're going to come over here and you get to do this, and we're going to watch you grow. We're going to watch you multiply. And, my favorite book is The Richest Man in Babylon, where they talk about the goals when invested, having children and great, so eventually your money has great, 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 great grandchildren. because you've had this great balance with it.
Yeah.
So
Sounds so nice.
and it's yours. It's just receive, right? It's yours
Yeah.
to receive. So thinking about what you do, and you're a multi-passionate, you have all these wonderful skill sets, and you stepped away from nursing, got into entrepreneurial. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think that being a pediatric nurse, I was a pediatric nurse for 13 years and then had my own family during some of that, working nights and weekends. And it was a little bit of the balance of not taking care of myself during that time. And, and also seeing how Western medicine played out in these situations. And there were life or death situations. So there is by far an amazing place for Western medicine. It's come so far in all the things it's able to do. But there are so many times where there were a little bit simpler situations, like a cold or something we'd see some kids come in with. And a lot of times that it gets treated with medicine when it could be more holistically approached to kind of not have band-aids on not treating the symptoms, but you want to treat the root cause of something. And so understanding the science behind how the body works and then getting to the root cause of that is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, I love that, because need to get to the root cause of all the things that we do, and not only with our finances, but in our relationships, and in our own health. Like, what's the root cause of why our body is responding that way? So that's so cool. So, one of the tools that you use is the power of breath, and I'm all about that. So, I show us what you got with this power of breath.
Well, it comes from the science of it, because if you were to think about, if the body follows the mind and the mind can be controlled with the breath, if you can think about it like that, then you can understand that when you can harness the power of the breath, as you know, that you can actually access parts of your body that can heal. It gives you the opportunity to heal physically and emotionally, because it's all connected. And so you have the body, mind, and spirit. And when you can connect all those three things with the breath, magic can happen. And it's free, which is so amazing. So if you can learn how to use it. And the science behind it is I don't know if you've heard of the polyvagal theory, or the 10th cranial nerve is called the vagus nerve. You have these cranial nerves in your body. And the vagus nerve starts at the base of your brainstem and goes all the way down. Like it goes and innervates like your lungs, your digestive system. Like literally it has like tentacles, and it wraps around parts of your body that, if that's a nerve, and when that receives, it controls your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So your fight or flight and your rest and digest. And the breath actually is connected to that nerve. And so when you access that breath work and connect to that nerve, you can actually take yourself out of that fear state and calm your body, which, disease is in the mind and in the body, and it's the absence of ease. So it's the root cause of so many things, which is why it's so powerful. And tapping into that energy is pretty amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Can you do a little demo for us?
Yeah. So the best way to do this is just to be intentional and focus. And when you can focus on your breath and how you're breathing and just be aware, then it's a lot easier for your body to connect to your mind, and that they can have an open loop, like a communication a little bit there, which then in turn taps into your intuition and your inner self. And so that's how the body, mind, and spirit can all connect, is through that focused breath work. So one of my favorite ones, it's one of the easiest ones to do, and I think that you like to teach this one too, is when you breathe in and then you hold it and you breathe out for twice as long as you breathed in. So it's I like to do up to whatever is comfortable. So for beginners, it's usually a count of 2, then you hold for 2, and then you breathe out for 4. But you could work that up all the way to 6 count in and a 12 count out, or the more you do it, the more your body gets used to it. And the idea is for you to be able to access this breath when you need it. And so it's like the more you do it when you don't need it, the more that muscle is able to flex when you do need it. Instead of trying to learn it in the moment when you're in fight or flight, the more you can practice this beforehand, on a daily basis, then it's there for you. That tool's ready for you.
Yeah. And it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And when you breathe in purposely, like, so subconsciously we just breathe. We don't think about breathing, right?
Right.
This is a very purposeful breath that you breathe in. You're actually feeling your chest rise, and that posture almost goes straight, right? I can just feel, thinking about it, I can just feel my back like straightening up, right? And then holding your breath. Like I like to count to 7. But yeah, for beginners who aren't used to that, that's a great tip, is to just start off with the 2 and then, practice breathing out that exhale. Why is the exhale longer? What's the science behind that?
The science behind that is that it takes you out of that fight or flight so your body can feel safe. And when you feel safe in your body, then it is able to like not produce all of those hormones and chemicals, that are meant to keep you safe, like the cortisol level that, can run high, or your adrenaline, and all that's really great for times where you need it. But to maintain that state takes a lot of energy, a lot of physical energy and mental energy. And so the body really craves being in a parasympathetic state where you are able to rest and digest. And so that outward breath, so you don't have to feel like you have to like inhale right away, actually signals that 10th cranial nerve that you are safe in this moment, and you can relax, that you are able to calm that all those chemicals down and return to your natural state.
It's so amazing how our bodies work that way. It's just, thinking about that. And for, anyone in the audience that smokes cigarettes or whatever it is you smoke, cigars or what have you, the reason why, you're taking that big, deep breath is to calm that body, to that anxiety, that whatever it is that you're experiencing in that moment. I used to smoke. And when I started doing aromatherapy, I stopped smoking. So I didn't need to smoke anymore because I had replaced that habit with the oils, and now I do the breath work throughout the day. And like you said, you can do it anywhere. Like you don't have to be sitting in a seat in a specific position. And so thank you for that. That's so powerful. What if we'd like for you to give a piece of advice to the audience?
Well, I think the advice I have is probably just to make some time for, to notice your breath. And even if you aren't going to do the specific like counted breath, just to maybe when you wake up, just see how you feel and tap into that feeling. Just the more aware you can be of how your body actually feels, and then notice how you are emotionally feeling, and see if any of it's connected. That itself is self-awareness, is powerful. It's the first step to healing anything.
Awesome. Love it. So tell us what you do and how our audience can connect with you.
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Luna Wellness, and I am multi-passionate, so I do a lot of things, but I love the moon, and I love oracle cards and tarot reading, and all of it comes back to the same thing, is who you are and knowing who you are, so then you can live your best life. So I love helping moms tune into that, and then having a better relationship with themselves so they can have a better relationship with their kids, and breaking the generational trauma cycle that can perpetuate if you don't do that, so that their kids can then have better lives for their own kids, and it just keeps building that legacy, so future generations can be healthier.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful mission, and to be able to help. And so many moms do not take the time to care for themselves, the feeling of unworthy and always pouring into their family, like people pleasing comes to mind. But when you think of your kids, you're really not people pleasing. You have to take care of them, right? And being able to take care of yourself first and foremost, so that you can create this beautiful, healthy relationship with your children. I know a lot of people who don't talk to their adult kids, and it's really sad, and that's being modeled to their children. And a friend of mine, we're talking about it the other day about how well, her daughter doesn't talk to her. Her daughter has 5 kids. Those kids are going to see that. And one of those kids will end up not talking to her. And, it even happened in my family. So very, very powerful work that you're doing. I love that.
Thank
So
you.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Reena, for being here, for sharing your talents and your money story. And for anyone listening, if you'd like to connect with Reena, the links to connect with her will be in the show notes. And if you know anyone that would love to hear this episode, please share it. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show. And if you'd like to be a guest, send me a direct message and we'll get you on the show. Everyone has a money story. Everyone has a money story. And remember, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it.